Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about um, whether what he feels is love or what is true love and what it should look like, and the old paradigms of what love is and what we expect from relationships. We tend to stay in toxic situations and toxic relationships because we have a distorted definition of love, especially if we have been growing up in families or been getting our early training in environments where the person that we perceived as loving and nurturing was a narcissist or a self-serving person or a very toxic environment. We learn from early childhood that mothers are an epitome of love. They are nurturing, they're caring, they're the most loving creature on earth that a child comes to know. And that is a default definition of what a mother is. But now as adults, we know that is not true all the time. We see a lot of mothers abusing their children, whether physically or mentally. We see mothers killing their children. We see mothers putting their kids for adoption. We see mothers abandoning their family and going off. We see mothers dealing with drugs and addictions. We see criminal mothers. We see all kinds of mothers. Mothers are humans. They are not angels from heaven as much as literature and schooling and societal fairy tales have tried to teach us all our life. But the fact is, a mother was just a human being with all her flaws and all her shortcomings and all her mistakes and all her sins and her behavioral problems and her mental problems. And even the best mothers out there, a lot of mothers are not educated before they have a child. And by education, I don't mean a university degree, I mean education about motherhood. A lot of mothers are not ready even to have a child when they get pregnant, or even if they think they want a baby, they're not necessarily mentally and emotionally ready to have that baby. And suddenly a person with all their shortcomings and characteristics and flaws has a baby on their lap, and now you're suddenly from that regular person in an ordinary marriage, in an ordinary life, you become an angel sent, like an angel from heaven, a God sent gift to a baby. There is no argument about the depth of a mother-child bond, but not every mother feels that bond the same way. Not every mother has that nurturing in them the same way. Not every human being shows love the same way. People have different love languages. People have different perceptions of love. And not many people can love unconditionally. A lot of the love that we know in our society today is conditioned. A mother teaches their kid from early on that if they don't behave, if they don't have good grades, if they don't act a certain way, if they don't listen to them, if they don't do certain things the way the mother wants, that kid is not a good kid anymore, or they're not accepted anymore, or they're not loved anymore. I understand the teachings and the bringing up of a child, and the rule of encouragement and punishment in raising a child, and putting them on their path. But how many mothers out there think of their child's mental health and emotional health and behavioral health when they impose these the learnings basically that they had from their own parents onto a child? So these children are raised by a wrong perception of love. They understand love as expectations, as meeting a certain guidelines, as a certain standards that have to be a set of standards that have to be met. Suddenly love is not so unconditional anymore. If you're not a certain way, you're not lovable. If it doesn't feel a certain way, it shouldn't be love. A lot of people associate love with pain, and that is the wrongest way that you can look at a beautiful feeling. Literature throughout history has taught us that love is painful, that love is excruciating and torturing, and it's a sense of losing yourself in somebody else. But that is the old paradigm. That is not what love should feel like. And people wouldn't know, I wouldn't know, you wouldn't know what true love feels like until you feel it, or until you see it. If you're raised by a mother who was a narcissist, who had unlimited expectations from you, who had their standards that you had to constantly meet, or had their endless list of items that you had to check in order to be accepted by them, you wouldn't know what true love looks like. Because to you, your mother is the loving person in your life. She's supposed to be, right? You're taught that your mother is the one with unconditional love. Your mother is the one that loves you most, that loves you no matter what, that loves you more than anybody else in your life. And then automatically you associate that expectation, that checklist, that pain that you might feel if you're not accepted, the crying that you might feel, that you might go through because she rejects you if you don't match up to her standards, and all that pain and all that experience, you associate that with love. It's all association. Our entire life and our entire feelings are associations. And all our life, we have associated love with pain, especially in families that have dealt with, like I said, narcissistic parents or toxic environments. And they carry this perception and whatever they learned into their future relationships with other people, with their partners, and they repeat these patterns. Somebody left a comment on one of my videos that there's no such thing as karma and there's only energy. And well, karma is energy. Karma is the energy you carry around with you. Karma is the energy you put out into the universe. If you're putting out hesitation and hatred and resentment and grudge and toxicity, that's all you will get back. That's the energy you put in, and that's the energy you get back. You can't expect to be manipulative and ugly and dark and toxic and receive love back and receive abundance back. So speaking of association, back to the topic, we associate happiness with a sense of, with a feeling that we get when we see something beautiful, when we see, let's say, like when somebody gives us a gift, we have a feeling that we call that happiness. When somebody upsets us and we start crying, that we associate a sense of sadness to that. And all our senses, we associate those words with what we feel at the time that we're feeling that sense. Unfortunately, with love, though, a lot of people associate love with pain and um, trying extra hard and chase and run and all that. And that is true, but that's not for unconditional two-way love. Pain comes with one-way love, with unrequited love. When one party is invested and the other party isn't, yes, then you get pain. But that is not why people get into relationships. People get into relationships to bring love into their life. So that is the point that we start getting confused. When we see somebody's hurting us, somebody's lying to us, somebody's manipulating us, somebody cheats on us, somebody deceives us, somebody's treating us less than what we deserve, but we associate that to love because that is our background. When they say, oh, but I love you, or somebody else says, oh, but they love you, we believe that because we haven't experienced true love. We haven't experienced what love is. We haven't read about what love should be. We haven't looked at self-love. We haven't given what we're trying so hard to give into a relationship that is not fulfilling into ourselves and see what that feels like. Fact is, true love is not hurtful. True love is uplifting. True love is an energy that makes you grow. It's like sunlight. It's the motherly, it's the earth love. It's giving. It's about abundance of energy. It's about growing wings so you can fly. It's freedom. True love does not bind you. It doesn't chain you. It doesn't expect anything from you. It doesn't make you be a certain way to be accepted or loved. True love is unconditional. It's loving people, loving yourself, loving whoever for what they are, for who they are, and accepting them with their flaws, accepting them with their dark spots. Everybody has dark spots in them. You don't have to be perfect to be loved if the love that you receive is unconditional. But like I said, because of the teachings, because of the generational paradigm, because of the schooling, the education system, the literature, the history, we associate love with pain. And then we get into relationships and we accept the pain and looking at it as love. And we stay in hurtful environments, toxic situations, because, well, that's what love should look like. That's probably what love is. And I want love. So, okay, then I'm staying. And I'm putting myself through this situation, even though it's hurting, but the person must love me. We never ask ourselves, if somebody loves me, why would they not put me as priority? If somebody loves me, why would they harm me? If somebody loves me, why wouldn't they help me grow? If somebody loves me, why aren't they supporting me? If somebody loves me, why am I trying so hard to prove myself to them? If somebody loves you, you don't have to prove anything to them. You don't have to beg anybody to love you. Love is the most free feeling. That's what a mother's love should look like too. There are some mothers out there that are in unconditional love towards their children. That they do get happy to see their kids' happiness. No matter what. Even if that child finds their happiness somewhere that that person doesn't approve. The child's happiness comes before their approval. And that's when you know somebody loves you. When what you're doing and who you are and the path that you're taking, they don't approve, but they still support you. But they're still happy for you. If your family, if your friends, if your environment blocks your happiness, they're not loving. If you have to be a certain way to be accepted, you're not in a loving environment. If you have to lose 10 pounds so your spouse loves you, if you have to have a certain amount of income so your family approves you or looks up to you or validates you, if you have to live a certain way so people admire you, if you have to bear through a toxic environment so, I don't know, you keep an image about you, you're not loving yourself either. You're not accepting yourself. And if you're not accepting yourself, why should anybody else? If you're not accepting who you are, if you're not loving who you are, if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, then you will have to wear all those masks that you hang in your closet. One for every scenario. I go to a party, I have to wear this mask so people think I'm so career oriented. I go to another event, I'm wearing this mask so people think I'm so rich. I go to another gathering, I have to wear this mask so people think I'm in such a romantic, loving relationship. I go to another, I don't know, work event and I have to wear this mask so people think that my family life is very stable. I go to my family, I have to wear this mask so they think that I have no flaws, that I'm successful financially, I don't know, socially. You see the pattern? So they think. You're living your life for other people. And even if their admiration, even if their validation, even if their approval gives you a sense of happiness, that sense of happiness comes from an outside source. What happens when that source is not there? Your happiness crashes, your foundation shatters, your whole being falls down because you're dependent on an outside source to validate you all the time. It's a very codependent or just dependent connection that you make with your surroundings because you don't understand love, you don't understand self-love, and you don't understand unconditional love. You cannot make people love you if you don't love yourself. You cannot make people accept you if you don't accept yourself. If you care so much what everybody thinks, then you're throwing out your beautiful days of your life satisfying everybody around you. And the satisfaction you get is shallow, it's on the surface, it doesn't reach deep into your heart. You you will always be unhappy. There could be a few occasions when something you want is something your parents or your partner or your friends want too, and then yeah, that's a lucky situation that everybody else happy. But the majority of the time, you're trying to prove yourself. And all the energy and effort that you could put into your true happiness, you're putting into proving an image that doesn't exist to the people around you. Look at the definition of love in your book, in your book of life. Is it associated with drama? Is it associated with pain? Is it associated with betrayal? With cheating? With lying? With being abandoned by people that you care about? Is it that you have to constantly be a certain way to be accepted? Do you have to be financially stable to have value? Do you have to marry rich to have value? Do you have to raise children that all have high standings to prove that you're a good parent? How many of people in your circle worry about your emotional health? Can you share your inner feelings with them? Probably not. Because your inner feelings are hidden behind your masks. Because you know you're not accepted, or you're afraid you're not accepted for the real person you are. For all the voids that you have to fill constantly by pretending you're something you're not. A lot of people stay stuck in relationships and connections and environments because they're not putting the effort into filling their own voids themselves. They're putting the effort into the environment, into their relationship, into the connection, so the other person fills their voids. So their friends fill their void. So their parents fill their void. So their partner fills that void for them. But the person that you're forever stuck with is yourself. People come and go. Family is not always there. Your friends, they rotate sometimes. Your partners may not stick around once your mask falls off. So at the end of the day, you're stuck with yourself. Why not filling your voids yourself? The worst feeling that anybody can live with is hating yourself, is is not accepting yourself, is seeking validation from outside. At any point you're making a decision, or you're going for something, or you're doing something, just stop and think, am I doing this for me? Or am I doing this so people think that I'm doing great, and then that would make me happy? Am I expecting some kind of response from my environment? What happens if I don't do what I'm trying to do? Am I still looked at the same way? Am I still loved? Are those people that I think they love me, are they still going to treat me the same way? Because if they don't really love me. If I decide to live in a 2-bedroom house instead of a 3-bedroom house, if I decide to walk to work instead of, I don't know, having a high-end car, if I decide to take a road trip instead of going to Paris in summer, does my partner feel the same way about me? Does my parent still feel proud about me? A lot of people are stuck in situations where their happiness comes with bragging, with gossips, with people's admirations. And it could come from directly to them or to their family. Your parent or your partner might expect you to be a certain way so they can go to their friends and brag about you, so they look good. It's not even about you, it's about them. You have to do good. You have to match up to their standards so they look good in front of everybody. You have to sacrifice your own happiness. You have to cover up your true being. You have to kill your true self so they look good. So it's not even about you and them, it's about them and their friends. It's about them and their environment. And this usually comes in narcissistic, toxic families, where everybody has to match up to the standards of the narcissist. You're supplying your life, your energy, your efforts, your love, your feelings, your success to a narcissist if you stay stuck in situations like that. You're a supply. They just milk you away, milk you out, milk the energy out of you. They just suck your finances, they suck your love, they suck your emotions, they suck your peace. There are energy vampires out there. And I'm gonna close my comment section because I don't want anyone to come and tell me energy vampires are not a thing. There are. Energy vampires are a thing. People that vibrate so low that they constantly need a supply of high vibe energy, of happiness from other people. This could be your parent, and this could turn out to be you too. Because if somebody else is sucking your energy constantly, if they are getting you dry, you have to get your supply from somewhere too. So you turn out to be the vampire also to somebody else's energy. Because instead of putting into your own cup, you're trying to fill the other person's cup, the narcissist's cup, the vampire's cup. People that choose their university degrees to make their family proud. People that choose a certain type of partner so it matches with their family standards. People that choose a certain way of living, a certain city to live in, a certain car to drive, a certain house to live in, so their second cousin can go back to their friends and say, oh yeah, I have a cousin in whatever country, whatever city, driving whatever car, living with whatever kind of wife or husband or children. If you're a girl, your family probably expects you to marry rich, marry a successful man, marry someone they can keep their head up high and brag about in the family. Do they ask you if you're happy? Do they ask you if he's faithful to you? Do they ask you if he's devoted, if he's a good father, if he's father material? If he's loving, if he's honest? Or if you're a guy, they send you off to marry someone with prestige, marry someone that meets the family values, whatever that value is. It could be religious, cultural, economical. Do they ask you if you're happy? Do they even know what makes you happy, or did you hide it all your life? They probably have no idea what makes you happy. And they probably use that as a forcing tool to corner you, to abuse you. You have no idea what makes you happy. You have already made so many mistakes. You have already failed. You don't know what you want. If you knew what you wanted, you wouldn't have failed so many times. So just listen to us. Just do what I say. For once. And what they fail to see is that you lived your entire life to make them happy. Or to prove to them that you're worth something. Or to prove to them that you're a certain way. Or to prove to them that they're wrong. But it was always about them. It was never about you. And you were controlled, and you were abused, and you were not truly loved the way that you deserve to be. We have all been in the same boat somewhere or another in our lives. Some were more exposed to it and some maybe not as much. But I'm sure in this kind of world, with what we're going through, with all the energies around us, at some point in our life, we have had to wear masks to make somebody else happy and get our validation from an outside source. But once you awaken to your true self, once you see that you're worth so much more, once you learn how to respect yourself, how to love yourself, then all of a sudden it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Once you gain your strength, once you feel independent, once you realize that you can take care of yourself, once you start putting that energy that you put into other people into yourself, then you realize that you can survive without them. You can be who you are, and whoever doesn't like it, so be it. Sucks to be them. But then those who like you, the real you, they're the most precious gift you could ever get in your life. The friends that stick around. The family members that support you for what you really want to do. The partner that supports you and wants you to grow. That is the point of relief. That is the point of absolute peace. And that's where the universe opens its doors and abundance flows into your life. All of a sudden, all the money comes in. All of a sudden, all the peace comes in. All of a sudden, a lot of love comes in. Because you stop hiding. And you start being. And like I said in my previous posts, people get adjusted. The little child in them might throw a tantrum, cry and put their foot down and corner you and reject you and, I don't know, give you silent treatment and, I don't know, all kinds of nasty shit on you. But if you're strong enough, if you love yourself enough, if you respect who you are, if you stay in your power and be faithful to you, two things happen. They either realize your boundaries and they start respecting it, or they just walk off. And at the end, you win. If they start seeing your boundaries and respect you, you found allies, new allies. People that are with you, they respect your boundaries, and they accept you even if they can't love what you're doing, they accept you. Or you win by just getting rid of a bunch of people that don't even matter. A lot of people are bound and chained into these situations because of finances, because of inheritance, because of money, because of image, because of fame, because of judgments. But every one of us is powerful. Every one of us can take care of ourselves. Every one of us deserves to be loved for what they are, for who they are, for what we can do, for our real selves. I may not be a shiny Tesla, but I'm the best bike I can be. And that's okay. Everybody has to be the best version of themselves. My best version of me may not be the best version of Sarah on her, or the best version of Emily, or the best version of, I don't know, Jack. Everybody has their own soul, their own character, their own strengths and weaknesses. But pretending to be something and someone you're not is the blockage to your growth. Love yourself and be true to yourself. And be faithful to yourself and set boundaries. Teach people how you want to be treated. Teach your family, teach your friends, teach your lovers that you deserve to be loved for who they are, for who you are, and they need to accept you for that. And if they don't, they can just walk off. Don't be afraid to let go. And people that are meant to be in your life will be. I hope that as the days go by and people are waking up to all the toxic teachings of the past, we get to learn more about true love and self-love and what it should feel like, what it should look like. Just keep in mind, if you're crying, if you're hurting, if your body is malfunctioning, if you're dealing with headaches, with backaches, with stomach aches, with heartaches, if you can't sleep, if you can't eat, if you're dealing with anxiety, if you're nervous all the time, if you're depressed all the time, odds are you're in a toxic environment and your body is speaking to you and you need to listen. I had all kinds of pain and shit that I dealt with when I was awakening to my truth. And once I came to peace with myself, they all just disappeared. With no doctor, no medicine, no nothing. Be kind to yourself. Because you deserve it. And take care and have a good week.